I woke up this morning with some great news out of Washington State for the second time, second day in a row. This involves a new bill that they are advancing, 5312. And what this bill does is very, very exciting. It follows on the recommendations of the American Law Institute, which, if you're unaware of it, ALI is a somewhat influential. I'm told that their influence is waning a bit, but a somewhat influential legal organization of former attorneys general, former Supreme Court justices, high-powered law professors, et cetera, retired persons who are um, influential and have the time to study certain issues out there. And they had completed last year, the year before, a study that they had engaged for about 2 years in which they studied the efficacy of the registry, and they determined that lifetime registration certainly was entirely inappropriate. Fortunately, Supreme Courts of Michigan, I think Tennessee, and a few other, Pennsylvania perhaps, and a few other places had determined that lifetime registration is unconstitutional, either as a result of or in concert with the ALI recommendation. Well, now we have out of Washington State Bill 5312, following on 5282, which I talked about yesterday. Why do you care if you're not in Washington State? Well, this is why. So in 5312, they indicate that no one should be in a net nanny sting involving a non child, a persona from the Washington State Police, Metcalf, net nanny, I.C.A.C, or any such sting for more than 5 years. In fact, they even have a provision for certain offenses for less than for 2 years and less. And nobody should be on, if I'm reading the bill correctly, a maximum of 25 years. That is different than even what Virginia has. We have a lifetime tier 3 requirement. Also, it would limit community supervision, which I believe is probation, to I think 3 years, which for such offenses, which is really incredible. That's a great step in the right direction because, as the research shows, the registry doesn't do a damn thing to curb any kind of child exploitation. And the people who are committing these crimes are not registered people very often. Um, I've heard that people have argued with me. They said, "Well, recidivism is high; it's at 6% or whatever." Well, then that means 94% don't do it. The other provision, of course, is if you many of these net nanny stings, there's no prior um, uh, felonies committed. Even Detective Bauer, in my case, indicated that that was the case. Because, of course, what happens is they're law abiding citizens who, by and large, are doing the right thing, in their day to day life. I mean, nobody is perfect. And they are on adult platforms, clearly indicating for adults. If they don't say it overtly, as I did many times, they're on an adult platform where you have to be 18 and over. And the police are the ones that approach them. The police are the ones that introduce sex. The police are the ones that claim to be an adult and after some 100 messages, switch it up to a child. And the question always is by trolls and others who attacked me as I was attacked yesterday as well. Well, why didn't you immediately desist? Well, first of all, there was no sex case where I was talking sexually to somebody who was supposedly that I knew was a minor. And secondly, we talk to minors all the time. There's no law against not talking to minors. What are you talking about? Okay. The real question here is what are police doing on adult only platforms and why are they playing these games? Why are they pimping somebody claiming that this is a persona who's 13, 14, 15, which teenagers don't naturally come on platform and say, "Hi, I'm a child, come find me." That's not what happens, okay? And then they approach you as a child after confusing you and talking to you in adult explicit language, okay, for many, many messages. And then they conflate the two when they go into the court. And they say, you knew all along, as they say in my case, which really is something, some manner of clairvoyance. Really, clairvoyance is, apparently something they expect all of us to have. What's great about this Washington State decision, which has implications for the rest of us if it passes, I'm sorry, decision bill has great implications because this is a trend that we're seeing out there. California, I posted something on there, and their circuit court said that uh, we need to revisit, order the Department of Corrections to revisit the concept of the tiers as it relates to people who have no contact offenses for fictitious children. Why? Because they recognize that this is a very squishy, ooky, very, very sketchy operation that the police are engaged in, and they're doing it to gin up statistics. Why would you do it? Somebody asked me last night, you're right, they targeted you among everyone else. It wasn't personal. They didn't target me. They were going after anybody. And I walked into the trap because I'm used to helping children, because I have iterations uh, um, over time of being very good at noticing problems with kids, trying to get them help. I don't know how many kids I have prevented, probably half a dozen in my last few years teaching, who clearly showed suicide ideations, and all the resources of the school and all the other teachers, and nobody noticed it and nobody reported it. Okay. Not to mention the fact that we're trained a great deal as teachers to recognize human trafficking, recognize sexual exploitation of children. So the police, of course, knowing this, knowing what sexual exploitation looks like, dangled this in front of me. And I didn't say yum yum. Again, I said, I'm not interested, but we need to get you help. And of course, that was used against me in court, because why would you be talking to a child? Well, as a teacher, you talk to children all the time, and they were able to get away with it. This Washington state decision makes it harder for them to get away with it. And I keep saying decision, excuse me, this bill would make it harder. And we need more of those bills. We need them in Virginia. We need them in other places. So for Washington State Bill 5312, watch that carefully if you're in a state that has a horrid record. We have Arizona and Florida, for example, that have lifetime supervision once you are convicted of any sex offense. Certainly, that's Arizona. Florida, I may be a little wrong on that, but Florida also has a law which allows certain people to be uh, killed, certain people to be enjoying lifetime imprisonment, and that's just ridiculous. So for I.C.A.C. Unpacked, this is Norman Michaelation. I will post the bill down below here. You can read it yourself. It's rather short, and certainly lend any support you can to this bill. Um, uh, if you're in Washington State, certainly get off the sidelines and do something with this. Thank you very much.